Murmur in the Wilderness. The Dark Continuum. Deep within the untamed heart of the African forest, shrouded in mist and mystery, lay a secluded cabin. Its weathered walls stood as a testament to the passage of time, adorned with creeping ivy and shadows that seemed to dance with a life of their own. Whispers of its dark past echoed through the dense foliage, a warning to those who dared to venture too close. The tale of the cabin's origin was steeped in legend and fear. It was said that a family, driven mad by isolation and consumed by forbidden desires, had once called it home. They delved into the darkest depths of the occult, conducting unspeakable rituals under the cover of night, their cries of ecstasy mingling with the howls of the wilderness. Among the locals, the cabin was spoken of in hushed tones, a place to be avoided at all costs. But for a group of thrill-seeking tourists, the allure of the unknown proved too tempting to resist. Ignoring the warnings of the villagers, they set out to spend a night within its walls, eager to uncover the truth behind the whispered tales. As dusk descended upon the forest, casting long shadows across the forest floor, the tourists arrived at the cabin, their excitement tinged with a hint of apprehension. Inside, the air was heavy with the scent of decay, and the floorboards creaked beneath their weight as they explored their temporary home. Among the group was Sonia, a skeptic with a penchant for adventure, whose unwavering determination masked a deep-seated fear of the unknown. There was also Mark, the charismatic leader of the expedition, whose bravado masked a lingering sense of unease. And then there was Emma, the quiet one, whose piercing gaze seemed to pierce through the veil of reality itself. As the night wore on, the forest seemed to come alive with malevolent energy, its ancient trees whispering secrets long forgotten. Strange occurrences plagued the tourists, from flickering lights that danced along the walls to disembodied voices that whispered tantalizing promises of power and salvation. Despite their growing unease, the tourists pressed on, determined to uncover the truth behind the cabin's dark history. But as the hours passed, their resolve began to waver, and the line between reality and nightmare blurred beyond recognition. It was Sonia who first heard the whispers, their seductive tones beckoning her deeper into the darkness. And it was Mark who first saw the shadowy figures that lurked in the corners, their eyes gleaming with hunger and malice. Emma, ever silent, seemed to withdraw into herself, her once piercing gaze now dulled with terror. Frantic attempts to escape the cabin proved futile, as the forest seemed to conspire against them, twisting and distorting the very landscape to trap them within its grasp. Desperate and alone, the tourists faced a choice: confront the darkness that lurked within the cabin's walls or succumb to the madness that threatened to consume them. As dawn broke, only Sonia emerged from the cabin, her eyes vacant and her mind forever haunted by the horrors she witnessed. The forest stood silent once more, its secrets buried beneath the earth, waiting for the next unsuspecting souls to fall prey to its evil embrace. And the cabin, a silent sentinel amidst the wilderness, watched on with silent malice, its dark history destined to remain a mystery for all eternity. As Sonia emerged from the cabin, the weight of the night's horrors bearing down upon her, she stumbled into the pale light of dawn. Her companions were nowhere to be found, their fates lost to the darkness that had engulfed them. Haunted by the memories of what transpired within those cursed walls, Sonia stumbled back toward civilization, her mind racing with unanswered questions and unshakable fear. She tried to put the events of that night behind her, but the whispers of the forest followed her wherever she went, a constant reminder of the darkness that lurked just beyond the edge of reality. In the days that followed, Sonia tried to piece together what had happened, reaching out to local authorities and experts in the occult for answers. But the truth remained elusive, hidden behind a veil of secrecy and superstition. Haunted by guilt and grief, Sonia retreated into herself, her once vibrant spirit dimmed by the weight of her experiences. She tried to move on with her life, but the memories of that fateful night continued to torment her, a shadow that refused to be cast aside. Years passed, and the cabin faded into obscurity, its dark history relegated to little more than a cautionary tale whispered among the locals. But for Sonia, the scars of that night remained fresh, a reminder of the horrors that lurked in the depths of the forest. And so, as the sun set on another day, Sonia found herself drawn back to the forest, unable to escape the pull of the darkness that had consumed her. For in the heart of that ancient wilderness, she knew that the answers she sought awaited, shrouded in the shadows of a cabin long forgotten. As Sonia ventured deeper into the forest, the familiar sense of dread and foreboding enveloped her like a suffocating shroud. The canopy above seemed to close in around her, casting the world into a dim twilight. Every step she took echoed with the memories of that fateful night, each footfall a painful reminder of the friends she had lost and the horrors she had witnessed. But despite her fear, Sonia pressed on, driven by an insatiable desire to uncover the truth behind the cabin's dark past. As she neared the clearing where the cabin stood, Sonia's heart quickened with anticipation and trepidation. The air crackled with an otherworldly energy, sending shivers down her spine and raising the hairs on the back of her neck. With trembling hands, Sonia pushed open the door to the cabin, the musty smell of decay washing over her like a wave. Inside, the shadows danced and shifted, casting eerie shapes upon the walls. But Sonia paid them no mind, her focus fixed on the secrets that lay hidden within. For hours, she combed through the cabin, searching for any clue that might shed light on its dark history. But try as she might, the answers remained elusive, taunting her from the shadows like a specter. Just as Sonia was about to give up hope, her gaze fell upon a faded journal tucked away in the corner of the room. With trembling hands, she flipped through its pages, her eyes widening with each passing word. In the journal, the cabin's former occupants chronicled their descent into madness, detailing the rituals they performed in a desperate bid for power and immortality. But as Sonia read on, she realized that their experiments had unleashed something far more sinister than they could have ever imagined. With a sinking feeling in the pit of her stomach, Sonia knew that she had stumbled upon something beyond her understanding, something ancient and malevolent that had been lurking in the shadows all along. As she closed the journal and stepped back into the fading light of day, Sonia knew that her journey was far from over. The darkness that had consumed her friends and threatened to consume her still lingered in the forest, waiting for its next unsuspecting victim. But armed with the knowledge she had gleaned from the journal, Sonia vowed to confront the darkness head-on, to uncover the truth behind the cabin's dark past and put an end to the horrors that had plagued the forest for far too long. And with that newfound resolve burning bright within her, she disappeared into the depths of the forest, ready to face whatever darkness awaited her. As Sonia delved deeper into the forest, her determination burned like a beacon in the darkness, guiding her through the tangled underbrush and looming shadows. With each step, she felt the weight of the cabin's secrets pressing down upon her, urging her forward into the unknown. But as night fell and the forest became an inky abyss, Sonia's resolve began to waver. The whispers of the trees grew louder, their voices twisting and contorting into a cacophony of madness that threatened to engulf her. Desperate to escape the suffocating darkness, Sonia pressed on, her heart pounding in her chest like a drumbeat of dread. Every rustle of leaves, every snap of a twig sent her pulse racing, her mind teetering on the brink of hysteria. And then, just when she thought she could go no further, Sonia stumbled upon a clearing bathed in moonlight, its serene beauty a stark contrast to the horrors that lurked in the shadows. In the center of the clearing stood a towering tree, its gnarled branches reaching up towards the heavens like twisted fingers. With a sense of unease gnawing at her insides, Sonia approached the tree, her footsteps slow and hesitant. As she drew closer, she noticed a strange symbol etched into the bark, its intricate lines pulsating with an otherworldly energy. In that moment, Sonia knew that she had stumbled upon the source of the forest's darkness, the ancient evil that had been awakened by the rituals of the cabin's former occupants. And she knew that if she did not act quickly, the darkness would consume everything in its path, leaving nothing but despair and madness in its wake. Summoning every ounce of courage she possessed, Sonia reached out and traced her fingers along the symbol, her touch sending ripples of energy coursing through the tree. With a deafening roar, the earth beneath her feet began to shake, and the air filled with the sound of snapping branches and creaking wood. And then, just as suddenly as it had begun, the chaos subsided, leaving Sonia standing alone in the moonlit clearing, the ancient evil banished back into the depths of the forest from whence it came. As the first light of dawn crept over the horizon, Sonia knew that her journey was at an end. The darkness that had haunted her for so long had been vanquished, and in its place stood a glimmer of hope, shining bright against the backdrop of the endless wilderness. With a weary smile, Sonia turned and began the long journey back to civilization, knowing that she had faced her fears and emerged victorious. And though the memory of the cabin and the horrors it contained would always linger in the recesses of her mind, she took solace in the knowledge that she had saved the forest from a fate worse than death. As Sonia made her way back through the forest, a sense of unease lingered in the air, a whisper of doubt that refused to be silenced. Despite her victory over the darkness that had plagued the cabin, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. As she reached the edge of the forest and stepped back into the light of day, Sonia's heart sank as she realized that her ordeal was far from over. For standing before her, silhouetted against the blazing sun, was a figure cloaked in darkness, its eyes burning with a malevolent light. With a sinking feeling in the pit of her stomach, Sonia knew that the battle she thought she had won was only the beginning. The true source of the darkness that had consumed the forest still lurked in the shadows, biding its time until it could rise again. As the figure advanced towards her, its laughter echoing through the trees, Sonia knew that her journey was far from finished. With a heavy heart and a steely resolve, she turned and disappeared back into the forest, ready to face whatever new horrors awaited her in the darkness. And as she vanished from sight, the forest fell silent once more, its secrets hidden away until the next unsuspecting soul dared to venture too close. Thanks for watching.